Just want to let you guys know,
Breath.
big up to every single one of you on this call because you dedicated a Saturday morning or early afternoon to come and get value about crypto and assets. Now, listen, put a five in the chat if you've been on one of these calls before, and put a one in the chat if this is the first time you've been on this call. So put a five if you've been on before, and put a one if this is your very, very first crypto and asset session. Wow, so we have a couple of new people on. I love this. This is great to see. Great to see. So, what myself and Gil do on these calls, guys, is we give you value on the crypto space, but we give it to you in a slightly different way. We tell you about the news for the week that's been coming out. We tell you about how crypto is affecting other markets. And also, guys, we like to break things down simply. So you're going to get a simplistic breakdown. It doesn't matter whether you're a 1 out of 10 with crypto knowledge, like you don't even know what Bitcoin is, or if you're like a 7 out of 10 in crypto knowledge and you understand the call we did a couple of weeks ago about crypto loans and lending and collateralization and diving into the deep end. You will 100% get one or two cognitions or breakthroughs. So our recommendations is have a pen and pad, be attentive. I'm going to go ahead and dive in to the first slide, which is what's going on in crypto, what's been going on in the past week. Now, firstly, Bitcoin surpassed 124,000 very briefly, but it did surpass it. And it officially then became the fifth largest asset in the globe. Now, for those of you who may not know, Bitcoin has been the most profitable asset class in the past 10 years. And so what we've spoken about a week ago was the path to alt season. Alt meaning alternative coins. So coins that are smaller than your Bitcoins and Ethereums, coins that are, have a higher volatility, which means higher price movement, but potential higher ROI. Alt season is where the institutions are funding Bitcoin, investing in Bitcoin, and utilizing it. And then it slowly goes down and down and down from those layer ones to layer twos to layer threes, right? Basically from the larger cryptos, and then it funnels into the smaller ones, and then it funnels into the more small cap ones. And so that is typically how the bull run goes. So for some of you on this call, you may not have Bitcoin. Maybe it costs a lot. Maybe you're like, the ROI, the risk reward isn't making sense there. But that's absolutely okay, because guess what's going to happen in a few months? We're going to see that same momentum with Bitcoin just on the smaller projects. What smaller projects? Well, that's what we might mention on today's call. We may be looking at things like Ripple. We may be looking at things like ICP. We may be looking at things like Curve. There's such a variety of cryptos out there that are literally laying dormant like a mountain, like they're just quiet. And then boom, that dormant mountain becomes active and there's a massive explosion. And that's exactly what we're on the path to see. Now, Do Kwon, number two. Do Kwon pleads guilty to the $40 billion Terra Luna case. Now, put a 10 in the chat if you remember when Terra Luna crashed, and put a 5 in the chat if you don't remember when Terra Luna crashed. Because, and Gil, if you can click that Do Kwon article just from the hyperlink, or actually, no, actually, I'll share it. It's going to be easier if I share. And so, yeah, got it here. And so Do Kwon, basically, he was the founder behind this project called Terra Luna. And I believe, I want to say he's a Chinese citizen, which makes things even more challenging. And so as we go here, he basically pleaded guilty to fraud charges. Terra Luna was a crypto that was very popular. I think it was in the top 10. But he was committing fraud using that project. And so now the guy has basically said, hey, like I'm guilty. This is what's going on. This was misconduct that I committed. And so you can see some of the details here, which is kind of interesting, right? Because, a lot of these people who maybe do nefarious things or end up in jail, I don't know if you know this, but like years before it was announced that they've been doing these dodgy things, they're in the articles. Like, they're getting praised. They're on Forbes, they're on Bloomberg, they're on Wall Street Journal. I mean, look at this. In 2022, he literally had an award-winning interview. But then, boom, a few years later, that $40 billion collapse occurred. And so Terra Luna was simply a stablecoin, USDT, And so it was depegged from the dollar. So stable coins are basically safe havens for your funds, right? So you may want to get involved in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and these other cryptos, but you put it in a stable coin first because it's pegged one to one with the dollar. So if Bitcoin goes up or down, or crypto goes up and down, your money doesn't because it's pegged one to one with the dollar. That's what a stable coin is. It's basically a safe haven. But what happens when that stablecoin like USDC, which is managed by Circle, or like DAI, which is DAI, or like BUSD, which is managed by Binance? What happens when they get depegged from the dollar and it's not one to one anymore? Well, guess what? Now there's instability. That safe haven has now, it can now drop like to zero fast. But only, if it gets depegged. And so that's what happened with Terra Luna. So that was one of the news that came out. And so now when I go over to here, let's talk about the next piece of news article here. And so public companies are increasingly adding Bitcoin to their holdings. And that's a big deal because the more institutional money that goes in to Bitcoin from these companies, the better. And these aren't private companies, they're public companies. What's the difference? A public company is a company that me and you, the retail investors, can invest in and have a share within that company. This is a positive because as the public company is invested in crypto, so are you by default for being in those companies. So it's not a direct, you're buying Bitcoin, but you're buying a part of a company that the company is buying in Bitcoin. Now, this is a little tip and trick. Guys, governments and political officials do this a lot. They do this a lot. The Trump family, Eric Trump, Barron Trump, those individuals, they are actually invested in one or two crypto projects that are massive funds. And so they're not, interfering politically, but because their family members have gone into a fund which actually invests in crypto, now it becomes legal and they're allowed to do it. Put a 10 in the chat if this makes sense. Like, they're not directly buying Bitcoin as a Republican Party, like using it, but they're buying into a fund and the fund buys the Bitcoin. Put a 5 if that makes sense. This is a clever tactic that is very often used. And so some of these public companies that I want to mention on this call that actually are invested in crypto. I'm just going to get it up here real quickly because I want to take you through one or two of these on the list that are actually invested in crypto, which is very, very interesting. Let's see if I have it up here. Amazing. So some of these public companies, guys, they include Strategy, which is MicroStrategy. Some of you have heard, which is actually owned by, the name is popping out of my head now, but basically MicroStrategy own 628,000 Bitcoin, which is an incredible amount, $73 billion worth. But then we have companies such as Riot Platforms, companies such as Trump Media and Technology Group, Tesla owning 11,000 Bitcoin. So like they're all in the top 10. A company called CleanSpark, which some of you may or may not heard of. So that's some very interesting news here. Now, the next piece of news is the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission, launches Project Crypto. Project Crypto, you're probably asking yourself, like, what is that? Now, Project Crypto is simply an initiative that the US government, I'm going to get it up here on the screen, have actually begun and started, which is simply the goal to make the US the global superpower for cryptocurrency. And you can see here a little bit, Paul Atkins, who is the chairman of the SEC, unveiled Project Crypto recently. And so the initiative is simply to make the US that leading power, but also to reshape the financial markets using regulation and actually having a framework so that companies can include crypto to their balance sheet, so that companies can offer crypto to their services, because guess what they want? They don't necessarily want Chinese companies doing that and US citizens investing, having equity and utilizing Chinese companies and their crypto. They want it to be in the US. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to make it legal so that these companies can offer it and not be scared about what's the tax implications. Am I going to get sued? Because remember, who remembers Ripple XRP, guys? Put a 10 in the chat if you remember the SEC lawsuit against Ripple back 1, 2, 3 years ago. Well, Ripple is a company that were actually held hostage by the SEC because they thought that these crypto tokens were securities. Why would a company want to add crypto to their balance sheet and give it to US customers if the SEC is literally going to send lawsuit after lawsuit after those companies? That's the whole point of Project Crypto, is to mitigate that risk, which is really, really key. Now, the last point here is that the NFT market cap surged 40% since July. And that's been driven by Ethereum's rise. Why? Because Ethereum passed $4.2 thousand. Ethereum passed $4.2 thousand. So guess what? Ethereum is one of the main layer 1 blockchains for NFTs. What is an NFT? It's a non-fungible token. It means it cannot be exactly interchanged with another thing. You might say, what is this monkey painting compared to this monkey painting? They're the same thing, Jean-Luc. I can create a monkey painting and say that it's, a monkey ape and sell it for $10,000. No, you cannot, because each NFT has a unique address in the blockchain that differentiates one from another. And Ethereum, there's a marketplace called OpenSea. And OpenSea is the biggest Ethereum marketplace for NFTs. There's also marketplaces such as Magic Eden, which is for Solana NFTs. And then there's also marketplaces for Cardano NFTs. So there's marketplaces for different blockchain NFTs, but Ethereum is the largest. So look at the correlation between crypto and NFTs. Ethereum rises, people are buying up more NFTs. Ethereum falls down, NFT volume decreases. Now, that's one of the correlations I want you to keep in mind. So that is the news that's been going on in crypto the past week, family. I wanted to dive into that and show you guys about the most recent things, what's going on. Because it's important to understand that we're not just learning about the utility of crypto and how it works in the back end, but I want to intertwine that with like right now, today, present day, what has been going on and how is it going to affect the market as an investor or as a trader. So at this point, I'm going to pass it over to the main man, to the individual who at some point you're going to see within the platform teaching about crypto, because he has an abundance of knowledge. Meet myself and Gil, we've been running together for 4 years. You know what I mean? And so we are big believers and advocates in offering free value. And this is the man who really takes that initiative. So Gil, I'll put some tens in the chat for Gil, and I'll pass it over to you, brother.
For sure, guys. Continue the tens for my brother Jean-Luc coming on here and always giving a lot of game. Shout out to him. He's actually at a conference right now, so he jumped out to come on today's call. He's like, bro, I don't want to miss it. I don't care. I'm gonna make it happen. He's always the man to make it happen. So continue to go into tens with my brother Jean-Luc. For always coming on here and giving the game and going through this, because these are things that he finds, right? He looks at, he wants to bring to the table to really give you guys perspective, maybe for the ones that are a little bit more advanced or the ones that like the more like news side and what's really going on, because that's very, very key in this market, is being aware of what's going on outside of just the charts or things like that. Okay, fam. So go ahead. As we get things going, if you guys don't know me, my name is Jesus Gil. Like John was saying, we've been doing this for a very long time, guys. 5 years. We've been doing crypto and assets for a good amount of time now. A vision that we decided to create, and every single week we have different topics. Now, what I'm going to show you guys real quick here is I am going to give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what we're going to be talking about outside of what's going on in crypto. Now, the first things is this. Where are we in the markets, right? That's one of the first things I'm going to talk about. Put a 7 in the chat if you saw BTC hit all-time highs. You're seeing things happen. You're seeing some commotion. Things are starting to move, right, and get out of the boredom. We'll talk about that today. Then we're going to be talking about how to maximize the bull run, because we are in the current bull run, and people think the bull runs last forever, but the reality is it doesn't. And we'll talk about that as well. Now, the next one we're also going to be able to talk about, which is part of maximizing the bull run, is trading in the bull run, right? How can you trade on your way up in the markets and honestly, even on the market down, right? Which is a huge advantage. And then we're also going to be talking about why timing is so crucial in the markets, because timing in these markets, guys, is everything. That's one of the biggest things, is you can have the best timing and, kind of know what you're doing and see upside, but you can also have the worst timing and be the most educated and have the worst timing and not see the best upside, right? And then we're going to be talking about the next wave up. What are some next plays that you can start to take action on, right? What is the next wave? What are some projects that we can be looking at? And then also how to stay informed and ahead in these markets, okay? So put a 5 in the chat if you guys like this, what I have here coming next for every single one of us on today's call. And we're going to go ahead and get started on talking about where are we now in the crypto markets. Now, there's a couple things we want to look at. This chart I'm showing you guys right here is the total market cap, right? This total market cap, we have been above 4 trillion, right? We have just broken above 4 trillion this past week. Okay, so put a 4 in the chat if you've heard that, if you've seen that. Now, this chart is all of crypto. It's not just Bitcoin. It's not just Ethereum. It's every single asset together, right? 4 trillion in the market, give you guys a perspective. 4 trillion is not a lot compared to like the other markets that exist. And it shows how much opportunity we have in this place. Now, right now, we are at an all-time high, and there's a lot of traction going on. And there's a couple of signals that are letting us know that there's still some more movement. Because like I said earlier, these crypto markets are not going to move slow. When they move, they're going to move. And the bull market is not going to last as long as we believe. Now, there's a couple of things I want to bring up to give you guys a perspective on where we're at, but also what's next. What can we maximize? Because obviously you're on today's call to learn. Maybe you're on one of our channels. Maybe somebody invited you. Maybe you're already a part of our community. You're like, okay, Gil, yes, I want to know where we're at, but like, what's the next game, right? What's the next opportunity that we have? So really, there's a couple of charts I'm going to show you guys right here, right? That you can pull up on TradingView on your own time, do it yourself, is looking at things outside of just Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we're going to go ahead and start with Total 2. So on TradingView, there's a chart called Total 2. Okay, this chart shows every crypto outside. Well, this one is outside of Bitcoin, right? So everything outside of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and down. Now, as we can see, I want to ask you guys in the chat, put a 1 in the chat if you think it has broken previous all-time highs back in 2021, or put a 2 in the chat if it hasn't. So put a 1 if it has, put a 2 in if it hasn't. Looking at this chart, put a 1 if it has, put a 2 if it hasn't. Broken all-time highs. Okay? Now, this is something very, very crucial. And you start to see that we have a lot of opportunity. Okay? Like put a 1 in the chat if you can agree with that. We have a lot of opportunity here because it hasn't broken all-time highs when technically all of crypto has, and also Bitcoin has as well, right? Give me 1 second. Cool. All right, bad. So with saying that, familia, I'm here to let you guys know that anything outside of Bitcoin, we have opportunity. We have opportunity, which we'll talk about that as well. Now, the next chart I want to show you guys real quick is the chart that shows Bitcoin outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, this is every token that's outside of that, right? And we'll talk about it here in a little bit, what it looks like, what are some as well. But everything outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, same question. Put a 1 in the chat if it's broken all-time highs. Put a 2 in the chat if it hasn't broken all-time highs. So let me know in the chat box. So put a 1 if it has, which, it wicked it, right? It wicked it. So it's a tricky question. But it did, right? It wicked it, but it still hasn't broken above. Like it hasn't closed the candle above this price, which the previous all-time highs were here. So even anything outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, we still have opportunity. And that's why right now Ethereum is very close to broke all-time highs, but it still hasn't. And we've talked about the different phases that exist in these markets. And one of them is going from Bitcoin to Ethereum, then to altcoin. So this is what you can call altcoin season indication. And when we start to see these breaks of all-time highs, that's when we start to see movement. Okay, so this is the second chart I want to show you guys. Now, the last one I want to show you guys, where is the most opportunity is others. Now, this chart shows everything outside the top 10 cryptos. And I'm going to show you guys where to go to see your top 10 and all that, right? Now, here is the most opportunity. Put a 7 in the chat if you agree with me. You're like, yeah, Gil, like this is previous all-time highs. All of these other ones are right there, but this one, it still got movement. It still got, a good 40% move because we're like at 300 billion, which a market high was around 500 billion, right? And that's where opportunities lie. Now, one big mistake I think people do in these markets is they look at these too early. They look at these way too early and they didn't take advantage of the first run. Now, there's a couple of things that I've even learned in this run and even last run is understanding that literally it's Bitcoin moves, then Ethereum moves, then big layer ones, which is this one, basically, and then this one, which is more like altcoins. It does cycle because imagine, I want to give you guys perspective. It's something I learned that I'm going to be doing more next run with more capital, right? Imagine if you bought Bitcoin. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys perspective. And actually, I want to do this because I want to bring you guys like the actual visuals. I like to be a visual learner. Like put a one in the chat if you're a visual learner. You're like, yeah, Gil, show me, don't tell me, show me, right? Okay, I'm a visual learner myself. So I'm gonna show you guys this. Imagine, okay, if you bought Bitcoin here, and I'm not saying you bought 17,000 worth. Okay, so I'm talking about, let's say you bought 1,000. Let's say at this bottom, let's say at 20,000. Let's just say, give an example. Let's say at 20,000 for one Bitcoin, you bought 2,000's worth of Bitcoin. So you have 2,000. Okay, so you basically are taking off, 1-0. Okay, you're taking off 1-0. Okay, so imagine you did that, and imagine at 120K, or let's just say at 100K, right here, you took profit. So that $2,000 went to $10,000. Now I want to give you guys perspective. In this same time, okay, we're talking about December 22nd to December 24th. Projects like Chainlink, right here, saw a movement, right? Which is a good like 5x, which is very similar to Bitcoin. But I'm giving you guys perspective because there's still time. Bitcoin has already done its move. Can it go higher? Yes. Maximum, I think it can get maybe here, maybe here. That's about it. Nothing too crazy. But imagine you took that 2 to 10K. Now then, after that, you took that 2 to 10K, and on April 2025, look at perspective. April 2025, look at this. Can it be more perfect? You sold Bitcoin here on April 2025, right? When Bitcoin is here, you bought Ethereum right here. And you bought Ethereum at 1,500, but now you have 10K. Okay, so let's do the math. 10, you would have around 66.6 Ethereum. Put a 5 in the chat if you guys are following with me. Okay, you bought 6.6 worth of Ethereum. Okay, now let's say you took that, and let's just say you were smart. You're like, you know what? I'm not gonna wait. I'm just gonna take profit at 4,500. Okay. Now, if you did that, your 2K that went to 10K has now been 30K. 3 in the chat, this is making sense. 2 to 10. And I saw this the most realist this run, because I was more aware. Last run, I wasn't really here for it. This one, I was aware. I was like, wait a second. 2 to 10, 10 to 30. But you know what's interesting? That now is the opportunity to then get into these. Get into the ones I'm going to be talking about on today's call. Now, I ask you guys this, and obviously a lot of us didn't take that opportunity, right? And that's completely fine. But I tell you guys this because there's always going to be more runs. There's always going to be more things. And having that type of education is key. So if you're, seeing people and you're saying, hey, should I buy Bitcoin? Should I buy Ethereum? I want to ask you guys in the chat, what do you think? Should you be buying Bitcoin and Ethereum right now? According to opportunity, according to these charts, should you be buying Bitcoin and Ethereum? Put a yes or no in the chat. Okay, no, not because they're not good assets. Of course not, right? But because of opportunity. Because I know a lot of you guys on today's call, and most of y'all here is your first run. And if this is your first run, you want to be able to maximize the capital that you have, right? Maximize, exactly, because of opportunity and maximization. At the end of the goal is to own more Bitcoin and Ethereum, but to use this market right here to maximize that. Okay, familia. So I wanted to show you guys these charts to give you the opportunity. I'm going to be talking about plays that we have the opportunity to take advantage of like now, so everybody here can take action and also to stay ahead. But put a 3 in the chat if this is making sense. Okay, put a 3 in the chat. I just want to confirm that it's hitting home. Because for me, guys, it was a breakthrough. I was doing this and I'm like, this is insane. Like this is a live opportunity, like live representation. I showed you the numbers. I gave you the dates. This is not like BS, right? It's real stuff that a lot of opportunity exists, but there's still a lot more as well. Understanding what's to come, because you know what's funny, and I'll say this as well. Most people, when they're looking at Bitcoin right now, they're looking at crypto right now. You know what they're looking at? Let me know in the chat box. What do you think people are looking at in crypto? What type of project? What crypto are they looking at right now? Because people are Googling more, like Bitcoin. They're asking, right? Bitcoin, and what else? What else do you think people are going to start to look at? Because they're seeing all-time highs. What's going to happen when this asset hits all-time highs, right? Ethereum. And you know what's funny? Those tops are basically almost going to be in. Now, is there still move? Yeah. But they might see a 2x. But you know what's funny? People in crypto are not happy with 2x's. People coming into crypto believe in the 20, 30x, the rich overnight, because they're going to see on social media. So they're going to get stuck at the top. But you guys are not. Why? Because every single one of you guys have the opportunity to be educated on calls like this and what we have in our community to be ahead of the game. Because if you miss the Bitcoin run, you miss the Ethereum run, there's still one more run that really has the best risk to reward when you know what you're looking at and what you're maximizing in. Okay, familia. So put a 7 in the chat if that is making sense of everybody. I don't know if I know John Luke's here. I don't know if there's anything he wants to add or if he's not able to continue, but just let me know, bro. If you want to add anything to that before we go to the next segment, which the next segment, fam, is actually going to be trading this bull run. Now, I know a lot of us on today's call trade, right? Put trading in the chat if you trade, right? A lot of us trade. A lot of us starting our journey in trading. I started my journey in trading back in 2020. It was trading, and then I went to crypto. And the beauty about learning trading first, okay, the beauty about learning trading first is you know how to mark up a chart. And you know what's funny? I've met a lot of people in the crypto markets. I've been able to network a lot. You know, I just did a podcast with one of the guys that has been in crypto. He has a crypto community as well. And I was able to chop it up. And you know what's wild? Most people don't even know how to look at a chart in crypto. They just know on the fundamentals, the tokenomics, that kind of side of it, but not the trading side. And every single one of us here have the advantage, really, because you have best of both worlds, because we have that in what we have in our community. Now, trading in the bull run, guys, is fun. Transparently, haven't been trading crypto for a minute. It wasn't until literally July that I started trading crypto. Why? Because I understood that we're in the bull market. So what I want to show you guys is this. I want to show you guys how it looks like, okay, when you're trading crypto. Now, this is something that I use. Shout out to Tony. I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Shout out to Tony because he's the one that put me on. You know, he's always putting everybody on in the community. Like put a 7 in the chat. If you tune into the calls with Tony or with Fernando in our community here in Powerhouse, if you don't, guys, you're missing out. Okay. They have a lot of game. There are people I pick their brains like all the time. You know, we talk about things and we're going to be talking more in my opinion and collabing more. But he talks about something about like basically futures trading in crypto. And you know what the beauty about this is that you don't have to go through a broker. You don't have to KYC. You don't have to show your ID. You don't have to go through all this craziness. You don't have to send Bitcoin and then the fees and then you lose money and then transaction and then the slippage and then wild things that happen in exchanges on brokers when it comes to trading crypto. Personally, I don't even advise to trade crypto on a broker, and neither does Mike Sotero. Why? Because a lot of those, they're really just taking people's money, just being frank, because they use the advantage of being in crypto to take most of the spread or getting paid the most as well. Now, Jupiter is a DEX protocol. It's a crypto protocol. It's literally a coin, and we'll talk about that as well. But it's something that anybody can access. All you need, okay? And you can write this down. All you need, and I'm just going to give you guys one because there's no point of, you know, I'm not affiliated to any of these, but just to give you guys perspective. All you need is Phantom. Okay, Phantom is a wallet that you just download on your computer. You could do the mobile version, but I don't advise it. Computer, iPad, in my opinion, just because it's more safe. But Phantom is a wallet where you're going to download, right? It's going to give you some seed phrases. It's going to give you all the back-end stuff. And you're going to be able to send crypto here that you buy on exchanges, right? You can send your Solana. And I'm going to give you guys a heads up. Jupiter is only in the Solana blockchain. That means you only transact with Solana coins. Okay, do not send Ethereum here. Do not, like, send Solana just to make it safe for you. Send Solana, and you can get things going. No, you don't. You don't have to trade your VPN. This is I don't have a VPN right now. We're on this platform right now, live and in action. I'm in the trade right now, live and in action. We're not, we're not, no VPN needed, which is sick because it's here in the US as well. I think any country, I think at this point. So with saying that, once you connect your wallet, guys, and I'm going to log in, I don't really care. I mean, there's not a lot of funds in here, literally there's not. I just want to give you guys an example on how this works. Okay. So once you connect in here, you connect your wallet, you're logged in, right? The first thing you want to look at is there's 3 pairs you can trade. And what I like about Jupiter is that there is only 3 pairs. I like that. Why? Because it helps you focus on these 3 pairs. There's a lot of pairs you can trade in crypto, but sometimes it can be too much. These are the 3 biggest ones, one of the 3 biggest ones. And honestly, the most simplest ones to trade, right? Now, the question is, does Jupiter show how much you're losing when you, yep, 100%. Same thing. I'm going to show you guys here on there as well. So couple of things. Number 1 is the 3 pairs. Number 2 is that when you click on the pairs, you see the different charts. Okay. Number 3 is that on the right-hand side, you can either buy or sell. Okay. You can buy or sell, right? You can do a market execution, which we know as traders, or you can do a limit order at a certain price, right? If you do the market execution, that means it goes in at that second once you buy or sell. If you do a limit, that means it goes at that certain price. It will automatically put you in the market. Now, the first thing you want to do is say, what are you paying with? What did you send your wallet with? Let's say I want to do USDC, for example. If you have another crypto like Jupiter, you can also do it. But let's just say USDC. Okay, I want to pay in USDC. The minimum you can put on here is $10. Now, when you put $10, guys, okay, I want to give you guys a perspective. When you put $10 here, okay, it doesn't mean that you are risking all of the $10. Now, what matters is the leverage. Okay, but I'm going to make this very simple for you because for the longest, I didn't understand leverage as well. All I'm looking for is the liquidation price. That means at this price, it's going to take you out because you lost all that. You're risking all of the $10, but you don't have to. Because one thing that you're able to do is also set your take profits and stop losses. Now, I'm going to give you guys this example because I am looking for this trade idea right now. I have a limit order for this for Solana right now, okay? I took this trade. Shout out to our educators. It was called out. We got some dubs on this, and we saw some upside. And the cool thing about it is that I made Solana while Solana was also moving. So I'll give you guys perspective on that, but it's kind of like trading double. It's kind of cool, low key. But anyways, we're looking for another entry here, right? For the ones that know, this is a cool imbalance, a down before the up, right? This took liquidity before the market moved up. So I'm looking around $180. Now here, what we can do is set a limit, right? Boom, $180. Put in my $10. Let's do USDC, right? Boom. I know I need to have a little bit more Solana. I'll probably exchange for that here in a bit. And then it's going to show my liquidation price at 20 leverage. Let's give an example. At 20 leverage, it's going to show me this. That means at this price, 171.48, the market is going to automatically take me out. Okay, put a 1 in the chat if this makes sense. Now, my stop loss could be higher, meaning I don't have to risk all of the 10. But honestly, I just risk the 10, right? I do the highest leverage I can do for the $10. And you can change this number, but I'm giving you guys perspective on being safe, right? And being smart, not over leveraging all your money, right? Cool. So 173.28, that's close enough, right? That's around here. So my leverage I can do on this trade is 25x. And what I can also do is once I place this, I can also set my take profit and stop loss. Okay, and it shows you that right here. In this example, I'm trading, I'm in Bitcoin right now, and it could go lower. It could take me out, but I'm okay. This is like a swing play, so I'm chilling. But I entered this trade at this price. My stop loss is here. Now, as you can see, it shows how much I'm down right now, which is $2.41, right? I'm risking, and it shows here, my stop loss. I'm risking $10 to make 32, right? I was able to place these automatically, and it'll show me here. Okay, so it's the same thing as trading, literally the same thing. The only difference is just a different platform, and it's you can also have the app on your phone, but I recommend to use a computer or iPad. Yeah, Tony does this. Tony's all in. Nah, bro. Tony's a boss when it comes to this. But anyways, this is something that I think this is the time, the best time. You can trade this at any time, but this is the best time to do it because why? We are in the bull market. And in my opinion, you can do whatever you want, but it's very hard to sell in these markets, right? Just buy the next move and look at the things that we're learning in the platform. Look at the calls that we have. Look at things, and we have access to so many things, and we might be able to talk about certain things later. But use the same terminology, guys, that you're using in trading. The same thing. You just higher time frame. Just up it like maybe 2 time frames. So if you look at market structure in a 4-hour, you're gonna look at the weekly, maybe the daily. So go 1 up, right? So that's really the biggest difference. It's just higher time frame, guys. But honestly, it moves amazing when it's in the bull market. When it's trending, crypto is not fun when it's not trending. It actually sucks because you're like, damn, bro, like it worked me out, it put me in. But when it's trending, it moves very, very seamlessly. Okay. Now I know there's a question: do you get more money the more you leverage use it? I've never understood it. Yeah. So very simple, bro. Let's say you're paying in Solana. Okay. So let's say we're trading Solana. So you're paying in Solana. They just give us, I don't have enough Solana right now. I need to put more in here. But let's just, because again, this is my small wallet. Like I don't have my crypto in here at all, like my phantom wallet. But anyways, let's say I'm paying in Jupiter. So yeah, on market order, let's say I'm playing in Jupiter. So I'm paying it, minimum is $10 you have to have. So let's put 20 Jupiters, which is $10. It's not going to let me because I don't have Solana. But what I'm doing is I'm basically trading with these 20 Jupiter. Okay, I'm using this as my liquidity. So if I lose all my liquidity, then it takes all, I lose that amount of money, right? But when I win the trade, it's going to pay me out in Solana because I'm trading Solana. If you're trading ETH, it's going to pay you out in WETH, or it's going to pay you out in WBTC. So it's paying you out in what you're trading. So if you trade Jupiter for Solana and you win that trade, you're going to get paid out whatever you made in Solana. And guess what you do? You just accumulate Solana. You're not accumulating dollars. Remember, in trading on brokers, you're accumulating dollars. And think about it. Imagine you're earning Solana, and then Solana doubles, Solana 3x's. Now all those wins are times 3. So that's why I say you're making money twice, because you're making money in the trade, and then you're making money with the market moving if you hold what it's paying you. Does that make sense? Put a 1 in chat. That makes sense for everybody, because I know that's a question probably for everybody. Right? That's the biggest thing, is how much more Solana can you collect? Think about it. If you imagine you collecting, let's just say you went crazy in trading Solana and you learned from our platform and you learned from everything that we have, and you have 5 Solana by the end of this bull run, and Solana hits 500, 750. You're up just from creating money from trading. So it's a big leverage up with it. Okay, familia. So I wanted to talk about that as well. Now, to end today's call, I want to talk about timing. Timing, and then also the next place. Timing is very crucial, guys. If you've never seen this, take a picture of it. If you have, amazing. But this is called the Wall Street cheat sheet. It's usually for the stock market, but it's going to be for everything, right? This shows the emotions in the market. Right now, I really believe that we're around optimism and belief. Okay, we're not in thorough euphoria yet because the average person is not there yet. This is more the emotion of the average person, in my opinion. Okay, so right now, optimism and belief happens when all-time highs break, right? People start to believe in it. People start to see it. And it could be different for every market as well. It could be different for Bitcoin to Ethereum, or Ethereum into altcoins. Right now in altcoins, we're in hope, right? Like literally in altcoins right now, we're actually in hope right here because we're like, oh, maybe they can move. Maybe they can follow. But when no one's educated, know that it's going to follow, right? The right ones will. But understanding this is key, because when euphoria hits, this is where mostly people are going to come in. And this is where we want to take profits. And this move right here happens way faster than people think. This takes forever. This takes for years. This can take a couple months. I'm not saying it's going to happen in a couple months. I'm just letting you guys know from prior experience, from back testing, from seeing the run in 2021 when I was here. This happened so quickly as more than you think. Okay, so that's very important. Now, the next thing I want to give you guys is the next wave up. Put a 5 in the chat if you want to know what is the next wave up. Okay, I didn't get into Ethereum. I missed out on Bitcoin. What is the next wave up this bull run? Here are a couple. Not to tell you only these. I'm not telling you to buy these. I'm not telling you to only get these. These are just examples that I would say, hey, if I had to pick four, they're not my top four either. I just randomly said, okay, which four can I kind of pick that are not like my top four because that's a little bit biased, right? It's more of like a non-biased avenue. The first one is Chainlink. I know this one might sound biased because we're in Powerhouse and we talk about Chainlink a lot, but I'm just letting you guys know Chainlink is still an opportunity. Chainlink is one of the higher ones in the others. So it's one that's going to move first and then everything else will kind of move after that because it has more traction and more eyes on it, right? But Chainlink is a great opportunity still. It's moved, guys. It's already 2x if you bought at $12, but there's still a lot of opportunity. You know, because all-time highs is 55. I think that's a great target zone. One of my target zones is actually around like 30, 35. So, because I got them earlier. But if you're first time getting in Link, if you double, take at least 50% out. Take your profits. My best piece of advice, take your profits. Don't wait for the moon. Yes, you can still hold some to the moon, but don't have all your money waiting for the moon, right? Because sometimes we don't get to the moon, you know, quote unquote. If you know, you know. But anyways, that's first one. The second one is Uniswap. Never heard of Uniswap? It is a decentralized exchange. It's a place where you can exchange crypto in the Ethereum blockchain. You can do research on it. I'll show you the platform I use to do the research here in a bit. But the next one is Uniswap, guys. This one is around $10, $11. It does have a potential to go to all-time highs, but I would say around $35 is very happily. I'm very happy, right? 3x is amazing. So again, another opportunity with a minimum of 3x. I'm not even talking about it breaking all-time highs. I'm just giving a very minimal and just very safe route, and there's still higher opportunity with it. But that's another one that I will give you guys to put on your list. The next one is called Jupiter. Jupiter was called out also on our platform that I'll show here at the end. We were just on Jupiter. Jupiter has its own coin. And I believe Jupiter, out of all the coins in Solana, has done the most work. They've put in the most effort. They've produced the most things in their platform. And I think when traction starts to come in the ecosystem, they're going to boom. They're going to go game over. Right now, we're at 50 cents, fam. This is one of the cryptos that it's the first time they're in the bull run. Jupiter is new. It came out in 2024. It's never seen a bull run. This is the first bull run ever. So there's coins like Uniswap that saw this move. Because Uniswap and Jupiter are kind of similar in a way, but not. Jupiter does more actually. But this is the moves that happen in Uniswap. Couple dollars to $40. Now, I'm not saying this is going to reach $40, right? But this could see a 10x. This could see a 50 cents to $5. Now, I do have take profits here on the way up, but just to give you guys perspective, this is another good one as well. And then the last one I'm going to give actually, before I talk about how to stay ahead, is Ondo. I've talked about this a lot. A lot of people aren't talking about it, but people don't have to talk about it. Chainlink and Ondo are the most talked about in the government right now. They're being used in the back end. They're being planned for finance 3.0, the new finance in the US government. Ondo and Chainlink are in that conversation right now. There's a whole document about it. Like literally, it's there. People don't want to accept it. That's fine. But I'm letting you guys know, Ondo and Chainlink are working hand in hand. Ondo is going to be a big play. It's another token that is the first bull run. It's the first run. It's never seen a bull run, ever. And it already did big moves. It went from like 40 cents to like $2, right? Now, when this starts to funnel in, and it's going to take some time, it's not going to happen like ASAP. It's going to be one of the last ones maybe to like move after everything else moves because it's smaller, it's a newer token. This can see a lot of upside as well, guys. So put a 3 in the chat if this was valuable. This was insightful. I wanted to give you guys a lot on today's call. I wanted to give you guys the play. I don't like to hold things back because this call is up for everybody. It's a public call, really. We have it here in Powerhouse, but we open it up because we understand that people want to learn. Obviously, here in Powerhouse, we have an advantage, and I'll show the advantage we have here at the end if you're not plugged in with the community. But with saying that, guys, if you're in Powerhouse or you're not in Powerhouse, this is the best way. And I'm gonna keep repeating this until y'all get tired of me. This is the best way to stay ahead. And I believe results are talk more than saying, right? The ones who have results, the ones who've seen the 3, 4, 5x in their crypto portfolios, looking happy when the bull run, right? Who actually take profit when they need to take profit are the ones who are going to be plugged in. Why? Number one is because they're going to have basic education. If you're in the community right now and you haven't watched these boot camps, these courses right here, you need to get on it ASAP. Like I'm being real. This should be watched for more than trading right now. This should be watched first. Why? Because trading is going to take time. If you like it or not, it's going to take time. I'm sorry, nobody's going to make a 4 or 5x of your live account in your first 6 months, even in your first year, maybe. But you know what? In crypto, it's passive. So while you're mastering trading, while you're getting it down, right? You can actually put real money in crypto and see upside if you're positioned and if you're educated. And this is the basis of everything. Number one. Number two is the live education with Mike Sotero. Put a 2 in the chat if you're tapped in with Mike Sotero. And if you're on today's call and you're a guest and you don't know what we're talking about, reach out to the person who invited you. We have access to this live education every single week. Mike Sotero taught me and John Luke everything that we know. Literally, like we know stuff because we've plugged in for years, guys. I'm on every session. And if I don't watch it live, I watch the recording, but I do not miss. Why? Because Mike Sotero has years and years and years of experience, helps thousands of students. And he's a big reason why people are educated today. They might accept it or not, but it's the reality of it because there's not many educators are teaching what he's teaching in today's society. Honestly, he teaches trading and he also teaches about portfolio creating. And this is the best time to stay involved in these markets because the last thing you want to do, and I'm telling you from experience, because I've seen people do this in the last run when we were in the community, is to regret not taking a part of it. And I'm not giving you FOMO, like, oh my God, I need to buy everything. No, I'm just letting you know, if you have access to this, take advantage of it. If you don't have access to it, get access to this. Because if not, you're just going to stay behind. And that's fine. That's cool. Do whatever you want to do. Have ego, whatever it is. I don't care. It's cool. We're going to be doing this regardless. But letting you guys know is this is the best time to be a part of a market like this. It's still very early. There's a lot more runs to happen. It's not the only one ever. But guess what? This can be the foundation for you. Because I've shown the example. If you 3x every single bull run, in the next 20 years, you'll have over $1 million. If you 3x $1,000, $500, $300 for the next 20 years, you'll have over $1 million. But I'm sorry to tell you, that cannot happen in S&P. If you invested $300 every year, you're not going to reach $1 million. You'll reach a good amount, 8% a year, right? But not $1 million. So just understand the long perspective, but also understand to get ahead because guess what? When people don't know when to sell, we will. Why? Because Mike Sotero will be talking about this. Right? Jordan Morgan, Zachary Hogan, our educators will be calling this out live and quote me on it. They will because they did the last run. And you're going to be questioning it because that's where most people are going to be getting in. Okay? So we're saying that, family. That's it for me. I don't want to make this too long. Put a 7 in the chat if you guys got value on today's call. You guys took something away. Like we said, we run these calls every single Saturday. I advise to let people know about this. Let people know, even if they're not plugged in. Again, if you're not plugged into our community and somebody invited you or you're in our channel, reach out to the person that invited you on today's call or whoever you saw this flyer from and ask questions. Ask how you can get involved. But if you're a part of the community, guys, take action. This is the time to be it. Every single Saturday, we'll be on these calls, giving more action, giving more plays, ask us questions. And fam, let's get ahead because the time is now. All right. So we're saying that, guys. I appreciate you guys for being on today's call. I'm excited for what's to come. And I'll see you guys on the next one, guys. Peace.